How is it going? I hope you guys are having an awesome day, making it an awesome day, right? Because sometimes things happen and we're like, I don't know if that was really awesome, Dylan. But guess what you can do? Decide that, like, screw what just happened. I'm going to have an awesome day. So I hope that's what you're doing. If you're not, do that right now. Decide, okay? Because lean in. We are going to talk about one of my absolute, they're all my favorite topics, but this topic really blew my mind. And I know you might kind of see the title of it and go, Psycho-cyber what? Lean in anyways, because this is so good. I know. I hope you guys are trusting by now that I only talk about the best things, right? The most needed things for your growth. And this concept really legit blew my mind. Okay. So it is called Psycho-cybernetics. And before we really get started, I want you to set your intention, dive into who you want to be in this moment. I want you to grab your favorite oil. I want you to oil up. I want you to breathe it in. I want you to set your intention. What do you want to get out of our next 20, 30 minutes together? Okay. Because this is such a good topic. Okay. Most people go through their life without ever understanding this and agree that, not, they say, oh, I'm never going to become one of those people, right? That sets limitations on themselves in all areas of their life. But because we are a cybernetic mechanism, we are, okay? The image, your cybernetic mechanism is the image that you hold of yourself. And it is what sets the boundaries of your life. Hang with me here, okay? Cybernetic mechanisms are everywhere, okay? And so think of even a plane has a cybernetic mechanism in it, okay? It's up in the air. It's doing all of its science, floating up there. Still blows my mind every time I'm in a plane that I'm floating up here. I'm not floating. Anyways, it's science, right? It's doing its thing, but there's all these elements that are veering it off course, right? But the cybernetic mechanism keeps bringing it back on target, okay? The thermostat in your house, cybernetic mechanism. I have it set for 68 degrees. My kids leave the front door open, and if it's winter in Canada, it's going to get cold in here fast, right? But guess what the cybernetic mechanism is going to do? It's going to bring the temperature back to 68 degrees. Okay? That is what a cybernetic mechanism is. Okay? They're everywhere. You set the terms. Okay? We as humans also have a cybernetic mechanism. Okay? And it's called, what we call it is self-image. Okay. And we've talked about self-image before. We know we have two of them, right? We have the image that we hold of ourselves and the image that we project out to the world. Okay. If you have a small self-image, you've built yourself into this tiny little box, right? A big or powerful self-image then creates a large box. So the question is, what is your self-image? And are you caught in a vicious cycle of perpetual self-image that's not serving you, or a beneficial cycle? Okay. You might not be really clear on the details of the mental picture that you hold of yourself. And you might be even thinking, holy smokes, Dylan, you're really out there now, right? But I promise you, and I don't like to BS, okay? It is real, and it is controlling everything that you do. So even though you're not clear of all the details, I'm going to give you some things that you can do, that you can get clearer on the details, but make no mistake that they're there. Okay. Because these details are based on our beliefs. And I talk about beliefs all the time. That's what our entire life is, right? It's just a series of beliefs. But the details are based on the beliefs that you've formed about yourself based on your past experiences, right? Every success, every perceived failure. You guys know I love failure. It's so good. Your humiliation, your triumphs, right? And the way that you've treated people or been treated by people, how you were brought up, okay? Especially during those childhood years. You guys know I emphasize between those first 8 years of life is crucial, okay? These all contribute to your self image. So lean in for this. You build your entire personality, your behavior, and even your circumstances, everything that happens around you, on that self image. It is legit the foundation of everything you are, be, do, and have. Everything. It reflects in the job you have. It reflects in the house you live in. It reflects in how you appear. Like your body is a manifestation of your mind, right? So if it's how you appear, it is how much money is in your bank account. It is the relationships you have and the quality of them. All of it. All of it. Okay. Therefore, your experiences then verify and reinforce the image that you're holding, right? Because you're always looking for evidence that what you believe is true, even if what you believe is total crap and not true at all, right? So if you believe, because you were told in the first 8 years of your life through whether you perceived something, you were physically told, like, we can't afford that, we don't have any money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work hard to earn money. If you were told these sorts of things, guess what your belief of money is now? It's that you have to work hard for it. It's that it's not everywhere when it really is everywhere because it's energy. I digress, right? Like, these are the sorts of things I'm talking about. And everything is a reflection of your self-image. So fortunately, if you're not happy with the results that you're getting, I want you to know that you can change them anytime. And all you have to do, not all, there's kind of two things you have to do. Big part of it is alter your self-image. But you must direct your energy to changing the mental picture you have of yourself instead of trying to change all the outside circumstances. I think we've all learned, maybe through certain circumstances that have happened in the last year, that some things are legitimately out of our control, right? I can't control if my business is open or if, right? Like, I go to a restaurant or whatever, right? How people feel about certain things. I can't control any of that. Yet we spend so much of our energy trying to. And it's like, we can't control it. You have to change the mental picture you have of yourself and create your own circumstances, right? Just like someone that says, and again, if this isn't you, you know somebody that it is. They say, they're going on a diet because they're overweight. And it's like, you can, think that dieting your entire life. I know a few people that have been perpetual dieters their entire life. And guess what? They still look the same. They go like this with their weight. Oh, you know why? Self-image. It's ingrained in them. Ingrained. So here's one of the tools I'm going to recommend to you. I really encourage you to read Psycho-cybernetics. It's by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And I don't know a better book for helping you understand and to change your self-image. It is brilliant. Okay. It'll help you change your self-image, but I'm going to give you another tool a little bit later on. That absolutely, I had read this book, but I didn't really, like all the other books that are in my library, I didn't really read it. Okay. So Psycho-cybernetics. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this author, so Maxwell Maltz was an American cosmetic surgeon, also an author. Okay. So by combining his daily work and experiences as a surgeon he had a ton of studies on human psychology. What he did was he came to the conclusion that our self-image is the absolute cornerstone of our mental state. And therefore, of all the successes and failures that happen in our lives, this is where it comes from. So this is honestly best-selling book, and it is considered one of the best books in kind of the self-help category of the psychology masterpieces that kind of paved the way to most of today's personal development programs. Okay. So Maxwell Maltz was born in like 1800 and something, but he died, I feel like it was late 1800s, and he died in like the 1970s, but brilliant, just brilliant. Okay. So what do you need to know about your cybernetic mechanism? So picture your self-image like the thermostat of your house. Maybe you've never been in a plane before, so we'll use that. Everybody has a thermostat in their house. Okay. If you have a phone or a laptop and you're listening to me right now, you have a thermostat. Let's just assume that. Okay. Picture your self-image. And again, you can't see it. So this is where it can bring some confusion, because we're like, oh, I can see my eyes, I can see my nose. You can't see your self-image. How you see your self-image, like I said before, is in your results. That's it. That's how it works. You can tell everything about you based on your results. Not getting the results you want, don't have the amount of money you want in your bank account, don't have the relationships you want, don't have the whatever, self-image. Paradigms. Okay. Paradigm shifting is the other piece, by the way. That's my second thing to you. But it is all about self-image. Okay. Because like a thermostat, it is constantly bringing you back, right? So you say, oh, I really want to release weight. I'm going to go on a diet. And then all of a sudden, within 5 months, you're back to where you started, maybe even heavier, because you've now developed some habits with dieting, right? You have to get to the root cause of the source. Yes, nutrition is absolutely a part of weight management. So is exercise. But guess what? So is self-image. I would say it's equally as important, if not even more important, depending on what your relationship is with food and exercise. But again, I could have a whole other topic on that one. Okay. Regardless, it's all about your self-image, because it's going to bring you back. It's going to bring the temperature. It's going to bring you back, bring you back, bring you back. Everyone has a specific mental portrait that defines who they are and what they believe in. So that mental portrait is the result of, again, all of our experiences, our successes, our failures, our feelings, our behaviors. That mental portrait we can also call a paradigm. It's what you believe about yourself. And as a result, this image represents, it is the foundation that our personalities are built on. And the thing is that most people let their past experiences define them. And typically it's in a really negative way. Even if you appear to have a lot of confidence because in the past people have thought that you looked a certain way or acted a certain way and you got a lot of praise for it, even though that happened, you might now be negatively like putting that out there, right? So it's typically in a negative way, and they end up behaving in a way that is not at all in alignment with who they really are, but only with who they think they are. So remember, we have two sides of ourselves: who you really are and who you portray to others. So even right now, I can put on all the makeup I want. I can like put on, I'm always dressed from the top up, right? Like I'm always in yoga pants on the bottom, assume that, or pajama pants, usually yoga pants, right? But like I can look however I want right now, This is how I'm portraying myself out there, but this isn't who I am. It helps me. I like to show up as my best self, right? But there's a difference. And a lot of people define themselves by the way they look, which is why, example again, weight management is such a huge piece of it. And I'm going to do a post on this after, but I actually just finished a 5-day fast. And one of my biggest takeaways that I had, reminders, and what I was really looking for, because I really wanted to tap into that spirituality piece, right? Health benefits, yes, but the spirituality piece. I had such an awakening that I am not my body, right? I know there's 3 parts of me. I have a body, but I'm really a spirit and I have an intellect, right? So there's 3 sides of me. I really had that moment yesterday where I said, wow, I am not my body. Mind you, I'm only borrowing this body for 100 years. That's how long I plan to be here. So I need to take care of it, right? And to do that, it needs to eat real food, it needs to sleep, and it needs to drink water, right? But that's the thing. A lot of people say, I am my body. I am my name. I'm not my name. I can go change it right now. Actually, when I got married, I did change it. It was easy, super easy. You just had to sign a piece of paper, right? Like, but they'll say, oh, who are you? Oh, my name is, my job is, hey, look at me. I put makeup on today. And this is, you think that's who you are. That's not who you are at all. Okay. So we're thinking one way, right? So the thoughts I have of myself, really, of who I really am, that's one piece. And who I'm portraying outwardly is another piece. And it's kind of distorted, right? Because for most people, I'm really tapping into becoming aligned with this, right? But for most people, it's complete opposite. Complete opposite. And they think that, again, dressing a certain way and wearing all the creams and smelling a certain way and is going to do it for them. And then really they can't even pass themselves in the mirror and say, I love you. Like, I legitimately love you. Like, look at themselves. Know that this mental distortion, though, can be overcome. And that's done through adopting a new method for better defining ourselves and living life according to the person we are really meant to be. This is why I encourage you guys, you have to have a goal. You have to know who you really are. You have to have a purpose, and you have to be taking action in that purpose, or what the hell's the point? What is the point? To like wake up and hop on your hamster wheel and throw on your makeup and your nice shirt and go on your way? No, it's going to get old fast. And if it's not old yet for you, it will. I promise you. Been there, done that, right? Cough, cough. You have to know your purpose and your vision for life. Okay? We have to construct a new self-image, one that resembles us the closest. Not more, not less. But what we fail to understand is that every one of us is born for success. It is our birthright to have everything that we desire. Every human being has internal greatness that is just waiting to be unleashed. It's waiting to get out. When you were a baby and you were born, you didn't have any of these preconceived notions. You were just this perfect little human that was born. But what we fail to understand is that every one of us is born with it. Every single one. No one is, the universe, the very orderly universe that you live in plays no favorites. Okay? So you are that human being. You are that human being that has desires. You are that human being that can have anything that they want. This isn't a movie. This isn't oh, the person that actually got what they wanted is lucky. Inside of you, regardless of your opinion of yourself, is the ability to be happy and successful in everything that you put your mind to. So, in this exact moment, you have the opportunity to do things you've always dreamed of doing. And that opportunity comes and becomes available to you. And you almost have to like dehypnotize yourself from the thoughts of, I can't, or I don't have the right skills, or I don't deserve it, or anything that you're saying to yourself, I'm not worthy. You are worthy. You are skilled. You have everything you need in you right now. F the outside circumstances. You have everything you need right now to get it done. Everything. However, you're meant to show up. Cool, right? But guys, imagination is key. So, how do we actually reach this new way of thinking about ourselves? In this book, he talks a lot about imagination. So, just like at times, or most of the time, or mostly all of the time, we think about ourselves maybe as incompetent, lazy. We can't create new. I'm not creative, they're creative. Only artists are creative. Only musicians are creative. Only writers are creative. And we're kind of this creative, we have this uncreative mental impression of ourselves. And then we start behaving in, right? Because whatever we believe is how we act, right? So then we start believing and behaving and acting this way. But what if you did the opposite? And I want to point out that your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It only acts based on the information we send to it through our thoughts. So, if you start imagining a new version of yourself through your attitude and through your interpretation of various situations, acting as yourself with your goal achieved, using your imagination to do this, to bring yourself there constantly. And that's why when I say to you, set your intention, that's me saying to you, go to yourself with your goal achieved and listen to me from there. Because from there, I'm going to say some pretty epic stuff to you that is going to put you into action. If you are listening to me from your current circumstances, from your report card syndrome that defines themselves by what your report card said or what your bank account said or what your, I don't know, third grade teacher said, right? You're not going to, what I say is just going to go in one ear and out the other. It's going to hang out in your conscious mind and not go into your subconscious. And nothing happens from there. It's your subconscious that controls you 96% of the time. So by regularly checking on your mental picture, we can make sure that every effort we make is actually directed towards our goal. And this just enhances its power. So how do you get this mental picture? First, you have to relax. I know, I said it. The thing is we live in a go society, and it doesn't matter if the government locks us down. I'm still talking to people every single day that when I talk to them, they're like, oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm crazy busy and I'm crazy. And I'm like, yeah, wow, that's some craziness, right? And I'm like, really? Like, we can't really go anywhere. Is it crazy? I get it. Things on the outside, though, are only what we perceive them as on the inside. So if you perceive it as crazy, I'm crazy busy. I got to go here. I got to go there. I got to. You're never going to find the solution to make it not crazy. Does that make sense? When you are focusing on the problem, you're never going to find the solution. You need to relax. Relax. And Dave and I always used to say, when I worked in corporate land, and I mean, he's been a police officer and a business owner for 20 years. Okay. So I get it. I remember that, like it's crazy. I remember, trust me. And we always used to get our best business downloads, like the best ideas when we were away on vacation, right? Because we were up until 7 years ago, we were that work hard, play hard, right? Work, week off. Work, week off, right? And we would do that 4 or 5 times a year until we didn't, right? And we would always say, man, that was actually that, like, I feel so good coming off of vacation. And I have like all these awesome ideas of how I can like show up in my work. But what if, crazy idea, what if you intentionally took a vacation, even if it's a 5-minute vacation? What if you got to call it all the time? Right? Because although a really proactive lifestyle is super important, taking time to relax has crazy huge benefits when it comes to dehypnotizing ourselves with our wrong beliefs. All it takes is, even I said 5, 10, 30 minutes a day. Find a comfortable spot, let go of all your tension that's kind of piled up in your muscles throughout the day. Meditation, guys, has thousands of variables. And by simply even looking online, you can find everything you need to get started. You don't need to be a guru, right? The important thing is that you make it a habit to intentionally do every day. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, I even have an alarm set in my phone that reminds me to do it. Okay? But you have to intentionally work it into your life. Make it an appointment for yourself. I have it blocked off in my calendar to do. And so when I'm handing out my calendar, like I like to do, for people to book themselves in, they cannot book that part. It is sacred. And it will give you more clarity, emotional well-being, less anxiety, all the things that positively influence your self-image and raise your vibration. It is crucial. Another thing we need to do is let go of any past perceived failures. And I say perceived because failure is guaranteed and it should be welcomed. What if you believed that failure was actually learning in disguise? And you just said, oh, learning moment, moving on. Not, I failed, and then wallow for years. What feels better and what actually moves you forward? Probably the other way, right? It's been said, forget mistakes, forget failure, forget anything except what you're going to do now and do it. I love that quote. Just do it. Because, I mean, it's okay to look back to our success because it can inspire us to do more of what worked moving forward. But if you've tapped into U squared, know that what you might be doing that worked in the past isn't going to get you to the future. But then we automatically think, oh, I'm just going to forget. I'm just going to block out this failure. Blocked. Right? But our errors and our trials, these are gold. Gold. They are learning steps. And they are absolutely necessary to your personal development. But besides the lessons taught, they're done. They're over with. They're in the past. So anything in the past, once you've learned from it, like establish, yep, okay, this is what I've learned. This is what I'm going to do moving forward. Forget it. And again, yet most of us go, oh, I wish I would have, I should have, and we should all over ourselves constantly. What's the point? You can't go back and undo it. All you can do is learn from it, move on, do that. Right? Nothing is right or wrong, it just is. And every perceived failure is a learning moment. But the continuous dwelling on past failures isn't going to make this any easier for you. In fact, what it tends to do is kind of perpetuate the behavior that you want to change. It does the opposite of what you want it to do, and it's super self-destructive. Self-destructive. And then when we destroy ourselves, we go, oh, it was because of that. It was because of this person. I blame my boss. I blame the government. I blame and we start blaming. Right? Whereas everything that happens, we've manifested. Try even playing a game with yourself. Say to yourself, what happens? What if this happens? What if I can really pull this off? What if I'm the one? Right? Whatever you're looking for, just even what if. And when you ask yourself, what if, instead of starting to come up with the ideas of why it won't work and then procrastinating, what if it did work? If you're in sales, what if you did call that person and they said yes? You're not calling them because you're afraid they're going to say no. What if they say no? Who cares? What if you believed that a no actually meant not yet? Right? And when you start asking yourself, what if, it opens up the doors for all these huge opportunities that can hijack your mind from this negative and destructive space to a more positive and flowing space. One that's built on creativity and faith. And let your success mechanism do the work. As humans, we're born with this innate creative mechanism in us. And although we often decide to ignore it, like I've already mentioned, it is to your benefit to make it a conscious part of yourself. And in this book, he talks about once you get very, very clear about the problem that you intend to solve, you should completely clean your mind of everything else, from the worry, expectation, control, anxiety that's related to the end result. You should let your subconscious mind just do the work. Right? So it could look kind of like this. Think really intensively about the problem. Gather all the information you need. Consider the possible things that could come out of it. And then have a burning desire to solve it. And after you've defined the problem and what your desire is, drop any thought related to it, just even for a couple days. More often than not, after coming back to the problem later, you'll find out that the solution was right there in front of you. And you've heard me read U Squared, very first chapter, talks about this fly. He's watching this fly fly into the window, fly into the window. And he's trying to get out. He's determined that he is going to fly through that glass window pane. We know he's actually going to die doing it. Right there on the dusty windowsill. And what we see is that if it would just stop trying to fly through the window pane, take a step back, that there's actually an open door 10 feet to his right. That's what's happening with us as humans. We see a problem and then we're like, work hard, work hard, work hard, gotta get through, gotta get through. Take a step back, relax. You have creativity built inside of you. It is there, whether you think it is or not. And Dr. Maltz explains it. The creative mechanism works best when your conscious mind is less involved. Remember, your conscious mind is taking in outside circumstances through our senses, what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. When you disconnect yourself from that, oh my gosh, that's when the magic happens. Like, don't be surprised if your best ideas come when you're doing something totally unrelated to the problem that you're facing. It's just your brain that once it's received the proper stimuli, starts to work relentlessly on the solution. And you attract in the solution, regardless of whether you're conscious about it or not. I always like to, if I have a problem, write it out before I go to bed and ask. And usually by morning, I have the solution. Like I've either dreamt about it or it just comes to me. I also get my best downloads when I'm in the shower or if I'm out for a walk with my dog. It's not when I'm like, gotta figure it out, gotta figure it out. No. Force negates. Force is going to do the exact opposite of what you want it to do. Okay? You have to show up in a state that's in alignment with what you want. So like, just be happy. So if you're saying things like, well, I guess I'll be happy when I pay off my mortgage, or I'll be happy when the semester's over, or I'll be happy when I fall in love, or I'll be happy when I have X amount of dollars in my bank account. Familiar? Most of us tend to postpone our happiness because of external circumstances. It's like a deferred payment, right? We don't enjoy life today. Like we totally take it for granted because we think that when I have those things, that's when I'll be happy. What if, here's what if again, what if you were actually happy today? In this moment, with what you have? Because I can promise you, if you're not grateful for the $10 in your wallet, you're not going to be happy or grateful for the 10 million that is in your bank account. Okay? Life is not tomorrow. Life has to be lived today. And by the way, there's never a better time to be happy in the present moment. It's pretty brilliant. Happiness is a habit, though. And if you don't practice it today, you're not going to experience it later on. I promise you. Life is all about taking the problems that you face and learning from them and growing from them. And if you want to be happy, you have to learn to smile despite what's happening. And you should do it just because there's a reward awaiting for you at the other side, or because something good already happened to you. Don't do it because of that. Do it because you're alive and you can. And guess what? It's free. It's free. It's not. So if you have like money blocks right now and you're going, how much is this going to cost me? Or you have time blocks where you're like, I already don't have time. It's crazy out here. Guess what? It doesn't take any time. It doesn't take any money. You can just do it while you're doing, look, I'm talking to you right now and I'm smiling. I'm happy. I'm so grateful to be here with you right now. Right? But some of us think that being happy is even a sign of selfishness. But actually, Nothing could be farther from the truth. Being happy is the first step in order to make everyone else around you happy. You don't make other people happy by doing things for them. You can make someone happy energetically. I do it all the time. I'm sending you happiness vibes right now. All the time. But this can only be reached through practice. So you have to accustom yourself to the fact in a very proactive way that when challenges come up, you're always maintaining a very clear, positive, expectant picture of the end result. And it doesn't matter what's happening. What's happening around us is noise, pure noise. And everybody's got an opinion on it, right? But really, that doesn't matter. You have everything you need. You're just too busy with the noise and paying attention to it that you're not focusing on your purpose, on your mission. Screw the noise. And yes, obviously, maybe we can't be happy all the time, but we can be happy most of the time and in that positive mental state. But it can only be reached through practice. So you have to get used to and accustom yourself to act in a proactive way against challenges. Okay? That is not an option. And know that you have everything that you need in front of you. So outside of really diving into and facelifting your self-image, guys, there's people out there to help you do that. You're going, oh, this sounds really interesting. I think I'd like to make my thermostat go somewhere different. Like if your thermostat is set to 50 grand a year and you want it set to 200 grand a year, reset it. But I can promise you, just reading the book, not going to get it. I read lots of books before. And they hung out. And like I said, every letter that I have at the end of my name, it is because I'm incredibly, I have like my memory is excellent. And I can regurgitate information like crazy. And I got rewarded for years for regurgitating information. But it doesn't mean I actually knew it or that I applied it or that I understood it. AKA every university graduate that you know right now that either doesn't have a job or is working in a job that they don't want, but they're told to be happy with what they have, or you have to start somewhere. Yeah, those people, right? That's actually not the way it's supposed to go down. And education is sacred. Like I'm super grateful for the education that I have, but it's not everything. It's not who you are, right? It's not who you really are. It's just something you know. So reach out. I'm going to pop my calendar in the link. I want you to book a time and let's go over your self-image. Let's look at your paradigm so we can shift them because you're never going to outsmart them. Ever. Trust me. Years and years I tried. And my mentor, Bob Proctor, he's been studying this for 60 years and he still has to study every day and like look himself in the mirror and do mirror work and affirmations and all the things that we teach you. Okay? This is a lifelong journey because like I said, failure's guaranteed. Fear, guaranteed. You can't avoid them. You cannot avoid them. And I cannot give you a book that says, here's how to think with your conscious mind, where all the things that you currently think you know is stored. You are always going to be controlled by your subconscious. Guaranteed. Did I say guaranteed enough times? It's guaranteed. Hey, guess what? It's guaranteed. So book a call. And if you're wondering what all this like studying is all about, like what's the studying? you could actually get a glimpse of it. So my study club and we have a podcast out. It's called 6 a.m. Success. And it is on iTunes, it is on Spotify, and you can listen to our study club conversations and really get an idea of what this work is all about. And then, of course, you can always join Vibe Society, where you get access to my study club and masterminding and all the good things, everything you need to raise your vibration. Okay. It's all available to you. Like I said, you have everything you need, and I just gave you more. So let's chat more, because this, guys, you've been attracted to this message for a reason. Trust that. Trust that you've been connected with this for a reason. I hope that you are now well informed about psycho-cybernetics. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You guys are awesome. Thank you on